and the founder and CEO of Mediaspace.global. And this is a rehearsal for the next week's Leadership Club CEE session in Budapest, dedicated to sustainability. And it's a great pleasure to have Viragh Miklos here today with me, who is not only the CEO of Cantor Media Hungary, but also a sustainability expert. And he will share his thoughts as a private individual with private thoughts here today and next week with the Leadership Club members as a trained sustainability expert and kind of an ambassador of this topic. Hi, Miklos, how are you?
Hi, Kinga. I'm very glad today. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, and thank you for being a Leadership Club member from almost the beginning of the existence of Mediaspace and the Leadership Club, which started a little bit later. So we have a huge topic to discuss, and obviously your keynote will focus on a couple of urgent things, but for this short conversation today, I would like to ask you about the key urgencies and opportunities for the media and marketing space.
Let's start with the opportunities. I believe the most important opportunity is to utilize the enormous leverage what media has. Because when it comes to sustainability, it's always important to make a distinction between the individual level, let's say the micro level, and the macro level, the systemic level. The micro level is what you can do as an individual or as a company. Like you can decide if you want to walk or use public transport and leave your car at home, or to switch to a more plant-based diet from a meat-heavy diet. That's something you can do as an individual. And also companies can decide to switch their car fleet from petrol to electric and many of similar things. It's very well reflected in scope 1, scope 2, scope 3, etc. logic. But there is something which cannot be achieved at an individual level, because even if you decide to use the public transportation, you have zero influence on how it is organized. You cannot decide if that given bus is run by diesel engine or electric, for instance. And these systemic level decisions are those on which media has an enormous effect, because it is what it's influencing. It's about influencing people, forming the norms, leading the way, showing the way. That's what is really media is about. That's the most important mission of media. And as most of these systemic level issues can be connected with a belief, it's going through a matter of values, because fundamentally how we live, how we organize the things is the key issue of the whole sustainability. This continuous growth, which doesn't reflect to the natural resources, the negative externalities and stuff like that. That's coming from our values. That's coming from how we organize our society, our business. And on this one, media has an enormous effect. That's the most important opportunity what media have to convey up-to-date, let's say, suitable values, to convince people to slightly and then drastically change their behavior, to convey these messages. I believe that's role model is the number one opportunity what media has.
Thank you. Just a quick question, because we spoke a lot about systemic changes in the industry, not only related to the sustainability, climate change topics, but also change in terms of monetization and the advertising, digital transformation, AI, whatsoever. So my question is, if there is such an important force of change like you mentioned, media as such could be, but media is very fragmented in terms of its own structure with lots of different voices, understanding of the problem. Do you think they understand it properly? And are they totally behind this?
I don't think so. They are totally behind this. I have serious doubts regarding the motivation and if the right, let's say, switches are positioned to the right direction. But it should be the most important driver of decisions nowadays. It absolutely should be. Doesn't matter if it's this part of the media or a very different kind, because it's about telling a story to people. It's about conveying messages. It's about talking to people, interacting with the society. And if you are that position, you have a similar responsibility regarding that topic.
Yeah, thank you for mentioning the storytelling aspect, because we've been doing leadership club, Mediaspace leadership club discussions regarding sustainability for years now. And we started with very profession-related, advertising, tactical-related, technical solutions and like attitude kind of solutions, how media planners, buyers, marketers should approach sustainability, what tools they have, whatsoever. And at a point last year, when we had the Q3 session exactly 1 year ago, actually you were the one who just made me so easy to understand the whole story behind this. And this is not a story, but a fact. And as an evidence-based, industry, we should, I think, understand this story better, that there is a hard deadline, 2030, which many people believe just an administration deadline, but indeed there is a trajectory that can change our whole business, lifestyle, whatsoever on Earth, and that's the story that you simplified for me, and actually this is one of the reasons why I wanted you to talk next week, because I think we need to understand the bigger picture better. So I don't know if you have any comment on this. If you do, please let me and the audience know. And the real question I wanted to ask originally was what challenges you see for the industry?
I see two huge challenges for the industry. The first one is related with the vested interests. And the whole story can be simplified to this. How we live in a growth-centric world is not sustainable. That's for sure. For thousands of years, how we distributed the resources was based on the needs of the people, the needs of the society. It was shifted very recently, just in the, 100 years ago or something like that, and it was accelerated in the past couple of decades, to put a priority, not the needs, but the wishes, the desires. We are giving people what they want and not what they need and not what it is good for them. And as a result, it created a situation that we use much more resources than we have if we want to upkeep our living on Earth for the forthcoming future. That's pretty very clear. And the issue is that in this whole growth, let's say, centric oriented system, media is embedded. And that's a big challenge, because from being a player of the system, we have to somehow overcome this role and be a leader, a kind of leader, a role model, not only walking a path, but leading a way. And that's a big shift. And I'm not sure if media as an industry is ready for take that real turn, because we have to really coming over our current position. That's one of the most important issues with that. And the second is, it's, for sure it's connected, is not only this whole role should be changed, but we have to find the right way of how to finance it, because as we are embedded in the system, we are linked to the revenue coming from advertisement and the current business model. And challenging the big thing, while being part of that, while remaining part of that, and changing the way how we finance ourselves, that's a really big challenge. I'm not sure if it was clear enough, but what I wanted to emphasize, we need to change the big picture. Philosophically, we need to change how we deal with our resources as a whole society, as a humanity as a whole, how we deal with the resources, because we don't have infinite resources, and we are very well aware of that. And media can be very important, influential, who can draw the attention of the big public to this issue and to the solutions. But it should be more, let's say, more independent to be able to do that, independent from certain resources, certain financial sources. Be bolder and more independent, I believe. And that's a big challenge.
Yeah, I especially understand the role of media here, because it's obviously highly political as well, how people perceive sustainability and the solutions which might not be easier for us in the everyday life, or maybe if there is enough innovation, it might be, I don't know. Actually, that's what we need to discuss, how we could react pragmatically today in order to have a better short-term future by 2030. So I would like to ask you to stop here, because we don't want to share all the topics and insights that we want to discuss next Wednesday. So I would like to say thank you, Miklos, for accepting our invitation to speak next week and being part of the Leadership Club, and also the following Mediaspace Mixer, which is right after the Leadership Club. So I just wanted to tell everyone who is listening and watching this live streaming that the Leadership Club is fully booked. It's going to be an international one, because we will have not only Hungarian, but Romanian, Slovakian, Austrian experts coming over to Budapest for this roundtable. So it's totally and closed, but we've got the open networking Mediaspace Mixer right after the session. So if you are interested in meeting Miklos and other experts in this field at the intersection of media marketing, technology regulation, and sustainability, please join us for the Mediaspace Mixer and the Changemaker Summit. We will have sustainability as a whole session online and in person in London on the 22nd of October. But first of all, see you next week. Thank you, Miklos, for sharing your thoughts and expertise.
Kinga, thank you very much for having me, and let's continue it in a week.
Thank you.